All right, today's gospel reading is from Mark chapter 7, verse 31 through 37. I'll be doing the reading from the Blessed Theophilct. And again, departing from the coasts of Tyre and Sidon, he came unto the Sea of Galilee, through the midst of the coast of Decapolis. And they bring unto him one that was deaf, and had an impediment in his speech. And they beseech him to put his hand upon him. And he took him aside from the multitude, and put his fingers into the man's ears, and he spit, and touched the man's tongue. And looking up to heaven, he sighed, and saith unto him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. And straightway his ears were opened, and the bond of his tongue was loosed, and he spake plain. And he charged them that they should tell no man. But the more he charged them, so much the more they proclaimed it, and were beyond measure astonished, saying, He hath done all things well. He maketh both the deaf to hear, and the dumb to speak. Some exclamation here. He does not linger in the regions of the Gentiles, but quickly departs from them, so that, as I have said, he would not give the Jews grounds to say that he transgressed the law by mixing with Gentiles. And having left the region of Tyre and Sidon, he approaches Galilee. There he heals one that was deaf, who had an impediment of speech, whose affliction was from a demon. The Lord first took him aside, for he who humbled himself to the level of our poverty was not vainglorious, and for the most part did not wish to work miracles before the eyes of many, unless it were for the benefit of those who saw. He spat and touched the man's tongue, showing that every part of his holy flesh was divine and holy, so that even his spittle loosed the bonds of the tongue. Although spittle seems worthless, with the Lord all things are marvelous and divine. Scholion in the Greek text adds, he also put his fingers in the man's ears, although he was able to work the miracle by word alone, thus showing how rich he was in the activity of divine power. Even within his body, many passions had befallen human nature because of Adam's transgression, sometimes causing imperfections of bodily members, as well as other afflictions, and thus showing into what state of sickness human nature has been carried down because of sin. Christ enters and reveals in himself a perfect human nature, one like that which he had created at the beginning. And by means of this perfect nature, he healed the sickness of fallen human nature, which is, nevertheless, of the same essence as Christ's human nature. This is why he opened the man's ears with his own fingers, and bestowed speech to the man's tongue with his own spittle. Looking up to heaven, he sighed for two reasons. First, as if to beseech the Father to have mercy on the man, and thus to teach us, when we are about to work a miracle, to look to God and to beg from him the power of miracles, and secondly, to show compassion for the misery of fallen human nature, which had been delivered to the devil to be mocked, and which suffered such afflictions. And when he had healed, the Lord is proclaimed by those who had been healed, though he himself had commanded them to say nothing. We learn from this that when we do good to others, we ought not to ask for applause and acclaim, but when we ourselves have received some good from the hand of another, then we ought to tell it and proclaim those who have done good, though they do not desire it. Amen.